Hey, Ed here from 10,000 Foot View, and I've got another Google Ads quick tip for you today. Just before I jump in, a reminder to please like our content and subscribe to the channel. We post about Google Ads at least once every week. Okay, so today I'm going to be looking at a commonly used control by all Google Ads users. That is the date function, and there's actually quite a lot of utility and functionality built into this that most advertisers are not aware of. So I'm just going to go through the different ways to use the tool. So first off, you can choose from the drop down. So you can look at today, yesterday, this week, with different date ranges starting from Sunday or Monday, the last 7 days, the last week, again with that, the two options, last 14 days, this month, and so on and so forth. So I'll often use this if I want to look at like the last 7 days, which is often what I'll do when I'm optimizing an account. It just tends to be a good date range, particularly if you're doing like a weekly major optimization cycle, that you can kind of see, like, since you last made updates, how has the performance been? Um, but obviously to do more in-depth analysis, you probably want to look at a longer look back period. The other thing you can do right below this control is you can set the number of days prior to today, or the number of days, that's this one, prior to today, that includes yesterday, or the number of days prior, including today. I mainly use this one, and the reason for that is often conversions, particularly using GA4 for your conversion tracking, they want to settled same day, and you usually only have partial data for the same day. And often, your clicks and whatnot are not fully updated because there's always a delay, typically of an hour or two, before those get settled into the account. So usually looking at the current day is not very meaningful in the scope of looking at, a longer period, a week, 2 weeks, a month. But definitely looking at today, which the easiest way is to do this, is useful to just see, like, is a campaign serving, maybe that you just launched that morning and what have you, just to kind of do a sanity check. The other things you can do, you can select a date range manually by typing in the start and end dates, which is nice to do if you have specific dates in mind. And the tool that I really like that rolled out with the latest interface update, which is like now probably 2 years ago, but this scrolling calendar is really useful if you say, I want to look at the last 6 months worth of data, looking at month over month, right? So not like the last 180 days, give or take, but actually, hey, I want to look at, the first 6 months of the year. So you can usually scroll, choose the starting date, in this case, January 1st, and then choose June 30th, right? So this is giving me exactly 6 months, from January inclusive of June. So that's a really nice feature. And then the other thing I want to mention here that's kind of separate from the date controls are that you can then segment by time. So you could look at hour of the day, month, quarter, year, day of week. So in this case, we'll look at the day of the week. And what will allow us to do is, per campaign, we're able to see how different days of the week perform, right? So one of the important things to look at is kind of your ROAS, since this is primarily an e-com. And I think I have the ROAS on here, but maybe I don't. Not one of the accounts that I manage regularly. Doesn't look like we have it, but I mean, we'll use cost per conversion. And you can see that Saturday, the CPA is quite a bit higher than average. And Sunday we have 0. So presumably this campaign's not running on Sundays, which is interesting. So that's a very useful tool. I'm just going to deactivate this. And then the other tool that a lot of people miss, and I honestly, was actually two tools here that I didn't know about for the longest time, is that you can click on this tool, and what it'll do is it'll go back to the previous setting. that you had. And so in this case, probably to see this work better is if I do the last 7 days and then I click back through here, then there'll be the 7 days previous to that, and so on and so forth. So that can be nice if you're kind of looking and you want to see like week over week. You can click through and it'll just keep, kind of going 7 days at a time based on the range you have here. The other thing is there's like a one click show the last 30 days. And 30 days is a really good reporting period. It kind of describes a month, right? I mean, obviously it could be mid-month, but it's a really nice kind of range to understand how your campaigns are pacing. Because you're past the point for most accounts where all of your conversions have settled. I'd say for most advertisers, even e-coms, usually like 2 weeks max, you're going to get to like 99% of your conversions. I mean, there are extremes where that's not the case. Um, if you're using like offline conversions and you have a long sales cycle or something. But for most accounts, having a month's worth of data is a really good, going to give you a really good sense of like how things are trending in the account. Anyway, that's all the date controls. There's quite a few, and there's a lot of utility in here to kind of make things faster, versus if you were previously, I want to see like January, February, March. You could type those dates in, obviously. But the scrolling calendar is really, really handy for that. The one tool that I didn't mention here, which obviously is also helpful, is the compare tool. So you can select a date range, click compare, and then select the other dates. By default, it'll use the previous period, but you can select some different options such as the previous year if you want to compare like how the 7 days this month of this year compared to the same 7 days in the previous year. And of course, you can do custom, which can be useful if you want to like go back a couple of weeks and look at how that performed. Anyway, that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you found it useful. I will see you next time.